We had Justice Clarence Thomas saying in the last day, I think maybe even it was today, that people need to get used to accepting outcomes. And that's a good statement as far as it goes if you're detached from history or you're speaking in a vacuum. But when you have an outcome that people think is tainted in some way because there was cheating in some way or bad faith in some way, or the methodology or the arguments made in favor of the outcome are things that are unusual and perhaps even unprecedented in constitutional history, then people have a harder time dealing with the outcome. And maybe you'll put the quote up in a minute. It's also especially ironic coming from Clarence Thomas when the outcome in the country, the political outcome in the country that has been most resisted with violence and by other means has been the election of 2020, which has raised a lot of controversy because Clarence Thomas's wife was in communication with people with respect to January 6th and has been a proponent of the big lie. So I think you're correct to say, as others have been saying, that there's going to be a reduction in the trust and faith and respect people have for the court. It's been on the slide for a while now. I think approval of the Supreme Court some years ago was about 60%. Now it's 40% and below. And it's going to get worse because the other thing about outcomes, since Clarence Thomas is talking about it, is if you engage in an outcome that lays the foundation and opens the door for other bad outcomes, as you and Emily Bazelon were discussing a few minutes ago, that's also going to make people not want to abide by this particular outcome, the overruling of Roe v. Wade. The basis of the reasoning in that opinion opens the door, and I know some people are having a debate about this intellectually and academically, but the door is opened, if that opinion stands, to the withdrawal and taking away of other rights. So it's an easy thing to say in a speech, people should abide by outcomes, but it's not how it works in practice, particularly when it's gone this way.
Let's talk about what Clarence Thomas and exactly where he is. He was speaking at a judicial conference. It was in Atlanta, Preet, and he's saying that government institutions should be, quote, shouldn't be, quote, bullied into delivering what some see as a preferred outcome, and added that you cannot have a free society without stable institutions. So, I mean, is the Supreme Court being bullied? That's quite an accusation on his part.
I believe that in the Constitution, speaking of the Supreme Court in the Constitution, there is an amendment, it's the first one, and people are allowed to express dismay and disagreement with Supreme Court decisions. That's how it works. The ironic thing about, the other ironic thing, there's many ironies about it, but one of the ironic things about the Thomas statement about accepting outcomes and not being bullied is, think of what the conservative reaction, the anti-abortion reaction has been to Roe for 49 years. Were they accepting? Were they tolerant of it? Were they not resorting to bullying of the court?
Right.
And figuring out ways through the Federalist Society and by cheating Merrick Garland out of a seat on the Supreme Court and by rushing Amy Coney Barrett to a seat on the court when the election was just days away? Were they accepting the outcome in Roe v. Wade? They were not. So it's the height of ironies bordering on just ridiculousness for that kind of statement to be made.